There we go.
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on with you, man?
Oh, just chilling. I saw your message and I was like, oh shit, I'm, I didn't even know that you invited me like that.
Yep,
But
yep.
I got out of the shower and I was like, oh shit, he probably thinks I don't want to chop it up.
Nah, it's all good. So let's go where we was at, man. You was saying the same. You said Floyd. You feel the same way Floyd duck Margarito.
No, no. So I guess so. To me, I'm kind of like I don't get too high on stuff and I don't get too low. I'm kind of like in the middle. So I could see we can talk about any fighter and there's going to be a fan or someone that's going to say, "Oh, well, what about this?" and "Why did? Oh, what about that?" So we could nitpick about everybody,
For sure.
and then it's and you could bring up great points, and I could bring anybody could bring up, but it's just like, man, at the end of the day, like we're talking about these high level guys that are in it for the money and the glory and this and that, so they're going to make moves based off of money a lot of the times.
Sometimes.
So
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Hello.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Oh, oh no. So I mean, I'm talking about these high level guys that we're talking about, right? So a Floyd or a Pacquiao, all these top guys, Canelo and all these guys, they're at the level where they can pick to fight anybody they want with a belt or without a belt if they chose to do it, right? So Floyd could have chose to fight Margarito if he wanted. He could have fought Williams. But he just chose not to because we can say, all right, well, he fought Zab Judah and that was a good fight. But Zab Judah had a couple losses. He was just coming off of a loss. He could have chose to fight Margarito, but it's like, oh shit. Well, maybe I don't like that style, and he's too tall and long and punches. Throws a lot of punches, and then shit. Like Paul Williams is undefeated champion. Like, but he's tall as hell. Do I really want to fight him? Like, nah.
Yeah.
Let me.
Neither one of them is bigger, is more skilled, or was a bigger name than Judah though. Neither one of them reached a Judah level.
No, well, but that's what I mean. Like, but now we're saying like we can talk about, oh well, they're the same height and they're small and skilled and whatever, like, yeah, skill wise, yeah, Zab Judah was, and actually I went to that fight. um but for anybody else, like, if that was the time of social media, like how many, like, let's say Mexican fans would have been like, oh, Floyd's a bitch, why isn't he fighting Margarito, he's afraid. But at the time, like, we didn't have all that. Or anybody could have said, well, after the Zab Judah fight, oh, why didn't he fight Paul Williams? He's undefeated champion, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, oh shit, well, he is fucking tall as hell and long as hell. And it's just a matchup style that it's like, well, shit, maybe skill wise, like, yeah, you could say Zab is way more skilled than those guys, but physically, like dealing with someone taller, longer, high punch output, maybe it's
I mean, he beat
it
Corrals.
makes for a tough fight.
How much? Let me see. I got my little pad right here. I wonder how much. What was Corral? How much like Corrales compared to Margarita? Because y'all saying for people that say his height, I wonder what the difference was with Corrales. How much is what's Corrales height compared to Paul Williams and Margarito?
Actually, I don't know. And that was in the lower weight classes, even where was it at 147 or was it at 140?
I'm
The
not even
Because I
gonna act.
mean,
I'm not even gonna act like I remember that far back into
yeah,
those
that I don't.
details.
Yeah, me either. But that's what I mean, right? Because and it sucks to nitpick on Floyd because we could say, oh well,
Yeah,
uh,
Floyd fought
be,
so
be,
many top
yeah,
level
yeah.
guys though. Like he beat like Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? Multiple. You know what I'm saying?
But people don't even talk about, like, people forget about like the before 147, like where he was like a dog and actually like beat the shit out of people. So that's what I'm saying. It's like it's hard to nitpick, but then
True. But
you'll get to the air.
as yes, us being, when we hold these conversations though, we gotta kind of like find some type of basis to hold a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So like, all right,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
can do that, and that's true, right? When I talk to people, I always say that too. Like, if we want to be detractors, we could be detractors for anybody. You know what I'm saying? But when there's certain things though that go on that kind of like that kind of like make certain things obvious, like Canelo's just total like I'm not messing with Benavidez. I don't care what y'all saying, how much you give me, unless you give me something crazy, 200 million. That's what he said. You give me 200
Yeah,
million, I'll fight him. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, and that's what that so that's exactly that's what I'm saying, right? Like when um like your first comment that we first started talking about was when you said he only moved up because Benavidez lost his belt, right? So now if you have people that have never even, they haven't even been watching Canelo or Benavidez that far back, and now they hear that and they're like, "Oh shit! Well, damn, Canelo was a bitch. He only moved up to 168 because Benavidez lost his belt." So, but that's not a fact. That's not what happened. So now it's cool if I'm not, everyone can have their opinion and think what they want to think, but when it's based off of starting off with something that's not a fact, it's like, all right, well, that didn't happen, but all right, let's. So that's what I'm saying. To me, I think,
yeah,
like legit.
I got more though. That was just there was a bunch of clues that said he didn't want nothing to do with Benavidez, like
No,
them
well,
not
no, yeah,
enforcing the mandatory. You know what I'm saying? His comments when it came to Benavidez, because when we talk
no,
about
yeah,
fighting, I'm a trainer. So, when it comes to fighting, one thing about fighting is it's very simple. It's either you want to fight or you don't. You know what I'm saying? It don't be these guys, it don't really be all that. If two guys think they can beat each other, fights happen. When somebody's concerned with somebody, fights don't happen. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, yeah, and but that's what I mean about like obviously that there's a lot of talk going on, people back and forth, people trying to get more money, trying to sell the fight, and that's what I'm saying. To me, when we say, okay, well, the fact is, Canelo was trying to move up. I was at the Benavidez and Durrell fight when he fought Durrell and he got the title back. So after that fight, that was on the Spence and
What up,
what's
Danielle
his name?
Spain? I just be saying something to them when they tap in because they be subscribing and saying stuff. But keep going. I'll just say what's up
Oh,
to the person talking.
yeah, that's also that's cool. What the hell is Spence and anyways, he when Benavidez won in the undercard, right?
Yeah.
So at the he was the co-main event, whatever. He won his belt back at 168. So that was like in November, and he's already negotiating. At that time, nobody is saying, why isn't Canelo fighting Benavidez? Like it's not even nobody's radar at all. And Benavidez is gonna go fight a nobody in Angulo, which not saying that he's a nobody, but he wasn't a top fighter that everybody knew. So he makes that fight. Canelo's trying to make the Billy Joe Sanders fight. Well, blah blah blah. We talked about it that it got canceled because of COVID. So all that whole year is like, oh shit. Well, there's no reason to even entertain a Benavidez fight because he has nothing to offer, right?
Yeah,
So
once he
at
lost the
that point,
belt,
what's that?
but with the WBC would have did if it was Canelo or somebody that liked, they would have forced him to go through him to get that belt because people knew. I don't know how to say people the crowd because you got two crowds of people that watch boxing. You got the casuals, which is the loud people. Usually they pay attention to whoever's the loudest. You got people paying attention who know what's really going on, like who can see who the guys are, whether the crowd know it or not. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
we know who the dogs are, like with Boots. Like people will be like, "Oh, Boots is not a big name. Boots not that. Boots is the most dangerous guy at 154, in my opinion." You know what I'm saying? But whether the casuals know that or not, don't matter. Boots is the
What?
most skilled guy at 154. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, we can. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Your phone, your volume's down. Your volume's really
Oh
down. I
shit,
don't know what happened.
my bad. Is it all right?
Ooh, it was
Did
still like
did it get
down.
better? I know I accidentally pushed the button. Yeah, like that's what I mean. We can say this guy doesn't even have a bell or he doesn't sell pay-per-views, but we know based off of skill, like man, this guy's the truth and he deserves a shot. But see that's the same situation with we can say the same situation about why didn't Crawford fight Boots? Oh, was
Yeah,
he
I mean they
scared?
tried to
Was he
fight.
but they did it.
Yeah, I
Like
mean that was now that situation right there was actually one of those. Now a lot of times people try to blame business. That was one of those ones where when Crawford tried to make that fight with Boots, he was on Black Prime, BLK Prime. Where is BLK Prime right now?
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. We can talk about excuses, but it bottom line, it didn't happen, and
Yeah, it
this, you
didn't
know, the
happen. But
same
I'm
thing.
saying though, when we
Yeah,
did that,
yeah,
if
but
we talking about details though, you feel what I'm saying? Now
yeah,
that's a good example though, right? BLK, where is BLK Prime right now? Like, I'm gonna show you why that one's different because I really follow the sport. Now when I jumped out there and I said Canelo to move up, okay, okay, I got a like I said, I got a bunch of stuff on that, but that one was incorrect. I don't got no problem admitting that. Okay, I went back and looked it up. That one's incorrect. Cool, but we talking about BLK Prime.
yeah, yeah.
We seen Broner get blackballed trying to fight on BLK Prime.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, though. That's because they're trying to chase the most money possible, and it's like, all right, so is it about the money, or are you don't want to fight him because it's not enough money for you, or you're
Oh, he
scared?
didn't.
Are you
No,
done?
Boots didn't want to go to BLK Prime because they didn't want to get into it with their promoter. He said that out of his mouth. He said, "I don't want to jump over there. Y'all call my promoter." They know dang well they couldn't get nobody on BLK Prime. Crawford couldn't even fight Spence on BLK Prime. He had to bounce off BLK Prime to fight Spence.
No, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's why we can, like, oh,
Yeah, but
why didn't
those are
Crawford?
facts though. Those are facts.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
evidence. Like we can
no, yeah,
see we will. Where is BLK Prime right now?
yeah, but like, if we can say, oh well, why did Spence and Crawford take 5 years to fight? Like, oh well, because the promoter and this and
No,
this. It's like,
Spence. No, I tell you what. I tell you why. I tell you why. I was a heavy Spence fan when my boy put me on Spence. Spence, and I was shocked when I seen this. Right, I said Spence hesitated to fight Crawford. I didn't know why at the time because I was like, hell nah. Spence was running through everybody at that time. I'm like, hell nah. But he
I was a
hesitated when
Spence
Crawford
guy
jumped
too.
into the division. He hesitated. He said, get a belt, then we'll do it. And then when he got the
No,
belt, he still stalled a little bit. He drug his feet because he knew
no,
what Crawford
but
was.
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so much more than just. I mean, I don't think none of these guys are afraid of each other, and everyone would fight each other. But
No,
then you
I
get the
don't
big.
think so. I don't. I
I
think
mean,
maybe in the sense of when people say that, I think maybe in the sense of like fear, like no, they're not shaking in their boots, but they definitely know some of these guys could beat them. They definitely know that. So
but and that's when
how
you.
you wanna label that fear as scared to lose, scared to fight? It don't matter. They be concerned about certain fighters for sure.
And
Just like and I got proof. We got a guy right here straight out his mouth said it because these guys aren't getting good at ducking. When Richard Hitchison said the same thing about Matias. Now some people go, oh well, Matias lost to this guy, but that don't change the fact that Richard Hitchison said out of his own mouth, I don't want to fight Matias while behind that IBF belt. Then soon as Matias lost the belt, he rushed to win and fought Paro. You see what I'm saying?
oh yeah, that's what I'm. It's hard. I used to follow a lot, and then lately, I mean, I've gotten a little older, and I stopped following just because there's so much. It's not like obviously it's not like an NBA or NFL where it's like you
The
have to
best gonna
fight
play
this
the best and it's
person.
just cut. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's so there's so much involved. Like even with the Spence and Crawford thing, it's like, okay, Al Heyman is controlling 147 and he doesn't want anybody to go in there and beat one of his champions and he wants to keep it in house. So it's like, all right, do we blame who do we blame? Like, oh, we just say, all right, no big deal. It is what it
Well, with
is. It was
Spence and
business.
Crawford, Spence said out of his own mouth, we seen he was stalling. He said, get a belt. Then when Crawford got the belt, he said, what's up? But one thing I gotta give Spence credit for is when he got cornered, when he came around, he said, let's do it. I think Spence knew he knew he was in trouble, but he did it anyway. So that's what I give Spence credit for. You feel me?
But that
He could have ducked Crawford, made excuses, and he could have did all that weird stuff, but he just went in there and took his licks. You feel me?
yeah, and but that's what I'm saying. Where it just eventually it makes all the sense in the world business wise, and they don't. No one wants to have a fight. Like that's what I was kind of getting to when we were talking about Benavides. Like, cool. Like, all right, you fucked up. You ruined your chances because you couldn't make weight. Right. All right. Fuck it. Move on. Like, all right, let Canelo do his thing. You go do your thing. Right. And now, okay, it's every Canelo already did what he did. Now, what's next for Canelo? Is he gonna say, "All right, let me go fight this guy that's a good fighter that looks like a threat"? No one's ever watched this. He's never had a main event yet, and he's never had a pay per view. Am I ducking him because I don't fight him? Like that? That's it's there's no logic in that, other than us just saying competition wise, we want to see it. Just like
I
saying,
mean, he
"Oh, we
fought
want to see."
Berlanga though. When you fight guys like
No, no,
Berlanga,
yeah, yeah, no,
Ryder,
but yeah, but
Yildirim, you're
that's the.
not. So that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. When we listen, take a guy when we pick a narrative to go with, it has to match all the way through.
Yeah, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You
Like Floyd. Floyd said he
you're
picked the biggest
skipping.
fights. Floyd was like, I remember what Floyd said. I fight guys who got countries behind them. I fight guys, I fight guys who, I'm trying to set records for paydays. And that was his thing. He didn't say I
Oh
want to be,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
that was his yeah, and that's what I'm saying about I can't blame him. I don't go back. I don't like to blame him and say, well, he was a bitch and he ducked Margarito and because the money move was to go fight De La Hoya and just blow up and get more popular, become Money
Exactly.
Mayweather.
And I would never, and that's what I'm saying. Now, that's what I'm saying. When we having a conversation, we can't like try to throw the casuals like their narratives into our conversation. Like what I try to do, we try to get to the bottom line of it. We got to try to make it make sense. Sometimes we can't, sometimes we can. Because I can bring up situations where it was really like hard to make it make sense. You feel me? Like, okay, I don't know what happened there. But most of the
Yeah,
time, a lot of times, we can make sense of what happened. You feel me?
but like competition wise, I mean, I would have loved to see that fight with Margarito or with Williams or with even Amir Khan would have been. I would have liked to see Amir Khan over Ortiz and Guerrero and Berto. Like to me, it was like, all right. Obviously, Khan had a weak chin, and we can say, oh well, but he had a country behind him, and people wanted to see that fight. And why didn't he do it? Oh well, we don't know. We can give him the excuse of like, oh well, Khan has a weak chin. He would have got knocked out anyways. Or we could say, well, man, why didn't you just fight him? You fought Guerrero and those other two guys that were champions, but they weren't a threat. I mean, really.
I mean, Khan's
But
not a threat either.
I mean, Khan, that's when we're talking about styles, he had the hand speed that everyone thought was like, man, maybe he could give him problems. Like, and not even saying that, like, when we talk about Margarito or anybody, that I still think Floyd beats him, but it's like, instead of, and like, say when
I
people
mean,
talk about Tank,
Judah's hand speed. When you talk about Khan's got like fast combination, but he ain't got no power. Like
oh,
Judah,
yeah,
Khan wouldn't have been able to do what Judah did to Floyd. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't gonna
yeah,
stumble Floyd. He wasn't gonna
but see,
almost
that's
knock
what
him out. You know what I'm saying?
we get, we get stuck with speaking of a hypothetical of what we think's going to happen instead of them giving us the fight that we wanted to see.
True, but we
So,
know
so
Khan not hurting nobody. Khan ain't
but
probably
what,
hurt nobody since he broke into the upper class. Who
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
Khan hurt?
But when he fought my Donna twice, and then he fights Guerrero, it's like, all right, I'd rather see what Khan could do instead of
Yeah.
those two fights.
Yeah, but
But
I
you
said
know,
when
and
we dealing with Floyd though, it's so many. He fought so many guys. It's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's like
No,
me. That's like me picking
you're just we're
Canelo.
nitpicking. We're nitpicking
Yeah,
at that point.
yeah. Like even me, certain things like Canelo. I got a lot of criticism for Canelo, but sometimes it's hard because he fought so many people. You feel what I'm saying? It's like
Well,
it's hard to criticize a guy. It's certain things I can criticize about him that's undeniable, like taking franchise belts. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is like undeniable, shameful activity. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, and that's and so to me, that's why it's like I mean, I'm a Canelo fan. Been to a bunch of his fights. I've been to a ton of Benavidez fights too. But it's kind of like where people forget that hey, it's prize fighting. They do this for money. Like the business needs these guys to make money.
true.
They just don't fight. They can't just go and make. All right, we're gonna go. They just got they got to sell. So the
But
way they
they made a
move,
belt for him though. Like look,
yeah, yeah,
I'm like when we watch these guys also, it's like for me, I like guys who have certain characteristics about themselves. Like and I feel like all of us kind of do. Like a lot of people, most people like people that represent their countrymen. You feel me? People like
yeah,
Pacquiao
yeah,
that are Filipino. The Mexicans like Floyd. The blacks we like. I mean, no, I mean the Mexicans like Canelo. We liked it Floyd. We all do shorter roll. We all want to be like Floyd. You feel me? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But so you know that is that. I kind of forgot my point. I'm already drinking a little bit. So with that kind of franchise belt character. That's what I'm saying. Franchise belt
yeah,
character.
yeah,
Okay, so with me, I like guys who stand on business, who gonna show some type of character. Like when Haney got that franchise, but he tossed it. He said I ain't touching that. And we know what kind of belt it was. It was a made up belt. It's a made up belt so that you can duck your mandatory. We all seen what that was. So for me, I want a guy who's gonna say fuck, like forget that belt. It's a duck belt. You see what I'm saying? We know what it
but
is. We can play like, you know what I'm saying, it's not what it is, but that's not the character of a fighter. I'm a trainer also. So when I
yeah,
see
yeah,
like when I deal with guys like I don't like the mentality of like showing fear, hesitation. Like I'm the manager as a trainer in that situation. I'm the manager. You're the fighter. You're supposed to take on whatever I put in front of you. You see what I'm saying? You're not supposed to
Yeah.
even question it. Now you're supposed to trust me to make sure I'm not gonna throw you in there and get you hurt, like sparring or dealing with certain guys. But you're not supposed to question me either. I believe you feel me as a trainer. You're supposed to trust me. Let me do the thinking. You do the fighting.
But
You see what
see,
I'm saying?
that's where, like, and you should understand this about your um you're building up a fighter, and you're
Yeah.
trying to get him to a certain point. So it's like say when Benavides and Plant had beef, because of his brother, that how they were in sparring, and Plant slapped Jose Benavides, and they got into it.
He been slapping people. I forgot about that. He's even
I
slapping people
know.
left and right.
So like right there, right? You say, well, this is all, we're men, and it's about fighting and competition, and fuck that guy. We're gonna fight next. Like, no, they didn't fight next. They waited 4 years. Why? Because it wasn't right for the business.
Yeah, that's a
So
little different. And sometimes things that's a little different than Canelo accepting a franchise belt, though. He
no,
didn't have to
but
accept
that
the
so
franchise belt.
but that's what I'm
And it's
saying.
not even a real belt. That's a
No,
made
but
up belt.
but
They
that's what I'm
made it
talking
right then and
about.
there.
When I mentioned about Floyd and him not being required to fight anybody, right?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
we don't want to see Floyd fight the number one ranked WBO that we've never heard of, right? We don't want to
yeah.
see that. So the mandatory just doesn't make sense for the guys at the top level. You can't have them fight mandatories all the time, because
True.
who
Floyd
nobody wants
Floyd
to
really
watch
didn't
that.
hug belts like that though. He
No,
didn't
no,
always hug
but
belts. Floyd used to maneuver, have him, drop him, give him up. Floyd used to be. He didn't try to hold. He didn't have to like. He was like one of the first guys I remember to become bigger than the belts.
yeah, because at that point, that's what I'm saying. The belt didn't matter, and they didn't force him to do. They let him choose to make the biggest fights available, right? When there was somebody else at 150, at 147, like, man, I'm the number one over here on this side. Why don't I get a chance? Well, because you're a nobody, and who cares if you're number one? Floyd wants to fight the biggest name possible. So if you got, like, even with like Floyd, Canelo's had a couple of mandatories that people were bitching about, like, oh, why is he fighting him? Like, it only matters when it's somebody we want to see. Like, we don't
And
care about mandatories
but with
unless
that
if it's
depth,
a name we want to see. What's that?
what that shows us though is he does fight mandatories. I don't remember Floyd ever fighting a mandatory. Floyd ever fought a mandatory?
I mean, I'm sure he did early
I'm
on,
talking about,
but
yeah, I'm talking about, but once he got into the realm where he was like, okay, I'm picking and choosing, he never fought a mandatory. So that's what
well,
I'm
that's what
saying.
I'm saying. Like, they
That's my
didn't make
point
them
though. But
either.
look, Canelo picked and choose when he wanted to fight mandatories. Floyd never fought a mandatory ever.
No, but see, the other thing too that they always bring up. Oh, well, fought Fielding, and oh, he fought Yildirim, and oh, he fought, and it's like, man, this
I think
you're
that was a
talking
play
about.
too, but I'm not gonna mess with that. That's kind of sticky. I ain't gonna mess with that. I think that was a play too. We know that WBC was helping Canelo because they threw that extra bet on top of that. On top of that, for sure. But I'm not gonna talk about Udirim because allegedly he was the mandatory. He needed blah blah blah
No, no, I'm
whatever.
not. Yeah, that's like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the activity, right?
Yeah,
So, like, okay, you did take a mandatory, but you also fought 3 times in the year, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and some of these guys don't fight even once a year. So it's like, we can't really complain about, oh, Canelo fought a mandatory, but then he fought 2 other times within, let's say 12 months or like
yeah,
14 months. So the activity made it okay for me to justify, like even like, oh, why did he fight Fielding? Oh, he's a bitch. Well, he fought Triple G just 3 months before that. Like, who else does a fight 3 months after one of their biggest fights? Like, nobody. So it's like, all right, feel like, to me it's like a glorified sparring match, right? Like, he didn't have to do it, but all right, he did it. Like, no big deal. It was just 3 months after Triple G. The Yildirim fight was 2 months after beating Smith, and like 3 months after he beat Billy Joel. So do we really? I mean, is it really worth it to say, oh, why did Canelo fight Yildirim? It's like he fought him in between two other big fights in a matter of 6 months. Like,
yeah. I
when
think
when
he
you
ran
got
through those guys though because if I'm not mistaken, he was lining up the what's his name, the plant fight, why he had the other one going. Because I really believe he wanted those titles. He was like, I need these. I want y'all to sit still. I want all those in a row. Don't get in the way. I want those four. Because all of a sudden, undisputed is important. But I'm glad
Yeah,
he did it.
well,
Because you know what? You know what happened when he did that with that undisputed stuff? He made it popular. Because you got these other fighters who are just trying to get the light Canelo has, but they don't understand why he got the light. You know what I'm saying? The light he got, certain fighters just will never have, no matter what they do. And we've seen that with
yeah,
Crawford.
yeah.
Crawford became 3-time undisputed and still never got that light Canelo got. So we know it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
that.
I mean, that's marketability, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's a whole
fan base,
different other
the
beast.
fan base you appeal to, and all of that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I understand
yeah,
that completely. But I'm saying though, when he did that, he made other fighters go, you know what? I want to be undisputed too. You feel me? So I'm glad he
yeah.
did do that. But prior to that, he never gave a damn about undisputed. So to me, it looked like it was like ooh, that's a perfect lineup. That's why I was saying he probably waited till Benavidez was out the way. But apparently
But the other thing too, the other thing that it was good and it was bad though because it made everybody stop, right? Like Al Heyman wasn't gonna say, "All right, Plant, while Canelo's fighting Smith, you go fight Benavidez," right? He didn't want he wasn't gonna put his two PBC guys against each other. To him, he wanted both guys to have a chance at Canelo. So that's why I'm talking about when I say, oh well, yeah, Canelo cleared out the division. Now 2022, Benavidez is just starting to make a name for himself. Never had a pay per view. All right, let's let him build himself, right? So that's when he gets his first pay per view with Plant, and now it's like, all right, cool. Like he's starting to make a name for himself, and he's out there, talking about Canelo and blah blah blah. So it's no matter what, just talking about him, it's gonna help build his name. And he's doing the shit in the ring, right? He's a beast. Like he's dominating in the ring, and that's where we talk. When you bring up Berlanga, it's like, well, yeah, he's staying busy while he's to me Al Heyman is like, hey, we signed you to fight these. That was my theory. I'm like, okay, he's helping build the fight while Canelo's fighting the C level and B level undefeated champions. Obviously we can say, all right, these aren't the top skilled guys, and we do want to see Benavidez, but it has to make sense business wise. So now Benavidez fights Plant, Benavidez fights Andrade, he gets his two pay-per-views, and now it's like, oh shit, he's gaining a little bit more steam, and now it's becoming a bigger fight.
it's
Now
still
that
not
and
gonna
that's
happen
when
because Canelo doesn't want to fight him. That's
no, no,
he,
that no. So to me, that's where I say that was the buildup, right? And then all shit hit the fan when Turkey came in because I don't like to me Canelo at that time, like 2022. If he looks forward and says, "All right, let me look for my next 4 years. Who am I gonna fight? These are the potential names, right?" Crawford was never on that list. Like no one thought about that fight ever. So he's thinking, "Fuck, I got Bivol, I got Better Biev. Those guys are big. Like, but who else? Who else is there for there to be a buildup to have a big payday? Like there's no one else. And then suddenly out of the blue, here comes Turkey and Bud with all this money. So from that point on, that's where to me we can say, all right, he ducked the fight because he could have taken it and he didn't. And then especially now you can say, oh, but to me, he wasn't ducking the fight in 21, 22, 23. It was more of, hey, we got to let this build up to see what happens. So when you said never, to me, I say, maybe he was like, fuck, it's going to be a tough fight and maybe I don't want it, but I don't think he was saying never. I think he was like, all right, let this build up. And if it's going to be a big fight, we have to do it because that's the only big fight left. Now, this whole thing with fucking Turkey coming in and flexing his money, it's like, well, shit. I mean, I'm not going to make that money with the Benavides pay-per-view. So it's like, let me get this Skull money and let me get this Crawford money. And obviously he's been fighting for years in a division where physically he's just like he's outmanned with his height and his reach and obviously getting older, like you lose your athletic ability, your agility. Like I just don't see him being where I thought in 2022 it would be like a 50-50 fight with Benavides and even 23. and then slowly now it's like, okay, now it's like 65-45 or 70-30, where Benavides is just too big, and it's not even realistic anymore with his size.
I think
Like,
we've only seen, I start thinking like, when have we ever seen Canelo fight somebody like Benavidez? Triple G was like the closest, and from what I know, I don't know the backstory, but from what everybody's saying, from what it looked like, they had to force him to fight Triple G.
I don't, and that was another one, like the same thing, right? And, obviously guys are born when they're born, and you can't make so. I don't know. People, anyone could have their opinion. They could say like, so
I
Triple
think
G is.
I wouldn't even doubt that he probably didn't want to fight Triple G because Triple G really like they groomed, because I got my thing. I think they groomed Triple G just for a big payday. They're gonna do the same thing with Emilio Vargas. Like, they got certain guys who are marketable, but they don't have really had the skill like that. Gigi was good, but they maneuvered him. And I got to take with Sanchez basically saying so many words. Well, Gigi didn't duck anybody. It was us. We decided the best fights for him that would boost his career. You see what I'm saying? So he's
Well,
basically
and
saying like, we purposely like, go ahead.
no, well, so if you're Triple G and his team at 160, you're saying, okay, what's
154, because
next?
he
What
never went
what
to 160 until like the end
Yeah,
of his career. Yeah.
yeah, like what's next for us, right? What's gonna give us the most notoriety, the most money? What's the biggest thing coming up? So they see Canelo at 140-54 and say, "Fuck, we got this little cash cow coming up. We're gonna we're gonna try to get that fight. We're gonna wait to get that fight because that's what's the next big thing, right?" If Canelo didn't exist, he would have moved up to 168 a long time ago, maybe. But he
That's
didn't challenge.
possible. Your theories, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie, you're the first person I've heard with these theories, and it's interesting, but I don't, I just, my problem with believing it like that, because even what you're saying, right? What you're saying, like they maneuver Gigi, that still says they had to protect him because they didn't trust his fighting skill like that. You're saying though, because look, you're saying it's because the money. Cool, I respect that. But if you have a fighter who's the goods, you know he's gonna beat certain guys. Like like, and his range of guys he could beat is extended. So it's like, okay, it's for Triple G, right? Okay, whatever guys he didn't fight, you can say, okay, that guy was dangerous, that could have been blah blah blah. If you got a guy who's very very dangerous, though, he is the goods over Benavidez, he can fight those guys because like, okay, Canelo didn't fight Andrade. Benavidez walked right through Andrade. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah, yeah.
because he's that guy. You see what I'm saying? So for
But
a guy like
I
Canelo,
mean,
so for a guy like Canelo, who Andrade would probably give problems. I'm not even gonna, let's not even say Canelo would win or lose. Let's just say we know Andrade would give him problems because movers give Canelo problems. So Andrade
yeah.
would have given him problems. Benavidez ate Andrade up like it was a snack. You know what I'm saying? Like, he walked him
Oh yeah,
down
but
like it was play.
but that's what I'm saying about everything. Eventually, like, all right, Andrade has never fought at 168. He's
Yeah.
never he fights once every year and a half.
That's
He's
because
never.
they messed up his career. What's the name of them? Messed up
I
his career. He made some
I
bad
thought
moves himself, true, but
that Billy Joe
Hearns,
Saunders fight messed him up. I think because it didn't happen.
yeah, it
I
was a
don't know if you
couple fights.
remember.
Like, it was some moves. He pulled out of a fight with Charlo. That was bad. And then the certain deals didn't go through. So I blame Hearn low key. Of course, you could blame what's the name, but Hearn, because I think Hearn's low key he looking like he might do the same thing to Boots right now. He
Well,
looking like,
I thought that he was supposed to fight Billy Joel, and I was like, all right, cool. This is his chance to finally get a big name at least under his belt. But then that's when Billy Joel got caught with steroids and the fight got canceled. But then after that, he never tried to fight anybody. He never tried to make the Charlo fight. He never tried to make
he
even the
tried to make it
Jacob
again.
fight.
Them Charlos didn't want to fight Andrade. They knew
It,
because he started saying, I gotta see, now I save clips of certain things, but back then I didn't say those clips. But the Charlos was making excuses like, but I mean, they kind of was, they was good excuses. Like, the little brother tried to fight Andrade, they had lined the fight up, and Andrade pulled out. So that
yeah.
was
So
that.
business wise, they didn't want to deal with him anymore.
Exactly. So that's a good excuse. You can say, all right, I don't want to do that again. I did it already. He pulled out. Okay, cool. So Charlos that's the excuse. When in
Yeah.
reality, it's like, if you feel like you could beat Andrade, they would have took the fight. They knew Andrade was going to be a problem, though. His Andrade has a fighting style that's just a problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
he's very awkward, and
exactly. So it's
so
like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not even
that.
saying he's going to win, but he's a difficult guy to fight. You know what I'm saying? So
But like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, all right, after all these years of Andrade, like, can't catch a break, can't catch a big fight. He's not active himself with any big names. Nobody wants to fight him. And suddenly he hasn't fought in a long time. He's never fought at 168. Now he fights Benavidez, that's a beast for 168. And I mean, I wasn't expecting Plant to beat Benavidez because Benavidez is just a beast physically. Like,
yeah,
not even
Plant has
like,
gas tank issues. And that's why.
like
That's why I really think all those dudes kind of had like they all, like you said, BC. They all had little flaws, little things about them. And that's why I think Canelo lined them up. Like, ooh, I need all these pins lined up right here, right now. You know what I'm saying? That's
no,
what I
but
think.
but that's what I'm saying. Like, it just made it was a perfect fit to build up the fight. Like, all right, Al Heyman, all right, give who you're gonna give me while we're building up Benavides. All right, we got Munguia that's undefeated. The Mexican fans want to see it. All right, it's gonna sell. It's gonna do decent pay-per-view. There's little chance of you losing. We got Berlanga here that he's undefeated and
But
he's
he's
Puerto
booty.
Rican.
Yeah, he's booty. The Puerto Rican
Yeah,
fans don't even 100% embrace Berlanga. He never was
oh
able
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's but he got built up to get a Canelo fight just so he can be a C-level fighter that gives Canelo something to do while he's waiting for Benavidez, right? Because Benavidez at that time he's still fighting Andrade, so those were kind of around the same couple months. And then after that, it's like, all right, you can say, all right. That's when I was saying about the whole Turkey thing going on. But yeah, it's I don't know. There's so many.
I
I
think
guess
I think Turkey I think Turkey would have paid for him to fight Benavidez, but I think Canelo just because this is the thing when they go into these negotiations too. Like Turkey got the money, but Canelo still get to say yes or no. The fighters are the boss. The promoters just bring the money. The fighters are still the boss. You know what I'm saying? Get to say the fighters still get to say yes or no. You feel me?
yeah.
And I
I
I
just
think Canelo. Hold on, let me see. It did something weird. I think. Let me
yeah.
see.
I went out and then I came back
Oh
in.
shit. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Last time I figured out what happened. Let me see. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, like, to me, I think Turkey was just a big fan of Crawford, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll pay. I want to see this fight, so I'll pay for it." And Benavidez, he's just like, "Oh, cool. Like, he's a good fighter, but he's not over here offering all this crazy money for Benavidez."
I
I
mean,
mean, maybe.
He offered him. I mean, Canelo was saying, "I want 200 million." Canelo was throwing out numbers that's what I'm saying. Like, look, see, when you say that, when you say okay, when you say what you say, because Crawford took a very small pot to be able to fight Canelo. Also, you feel me? He got a very small deal on that out of that money. So, but with Benavidez, I think Turkey pushes a hard line with he want to see really good fights. He wanted Turkey. Turkey's not a guy like even right now. Canelo's under the gun right now. Look, he got to fight somebody good next. He's still signed to Turkey. He owed Turkey some fights. Turkey not gonna let him fight no C-level fighters. You know what I'm saying?
I
He gonna
think.
have to fight
I
a
think they
dog like
got.
Mabili. Now Mabili and
I
them
think
to
it's
me,
gonna be. I think it's
huh?
gonna be in Billy.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
gonna
it's
be
gonna be in
Mabili,
Billy.
Martinez. Those guys though are like in their prime right now. That's not a fight Canelo would handpick. He wouldn't handpick Mabili or Martinez and none of those guys.
I. I mean, and that's what I like. I go back to the track record of what we. To me, I can say, okay, um, let's say like how we mentioned Andrade. I could say, yeah, he could have fought him, but he also has that excuse of, well, Andrade didn't even try to unify the belt. He couldn't sell. You could say that excuse and say, all right, well, he skipped them and he went up and fought other champions. So it's like, all right, Andrade gets forgotten because he just didn't have the career he was supposed to. And then you
Exactly.
go and you can say, all right, well, Triple G, um, Canelo
Was
was Canelo won the 160 belt fighting at a catchweight at 156. So he was never fighting at 160, where Triple G spent his whole career just staying at 160, comfortable. I'm just gonna beat up everybody. And at the time, there was
was
no
it 160
competition.
154?
No, well, because remember, I don't know if you remember, Cotto beat Martinez for the belt, and they fought at a catchweight. I think it was like at 158. And Cotto was a small guy. So when he fought Cotto and Canelo were supposed to fight way before, but Cotto wanted more money and it just wasn't happening. And Canelo wanted to fight. Then Cotto loses to Trout, and then Canelo's like, "Well, fuck it, I'll fight Trout." So that was a good fight for him that he probably didn't have to take. But Cotto lost the fight, so he couldn't fight Cotto. Then Cotto he moves up in weight and beats all these scrubs at 160. And then Martinez had a bad knee, and he beats Martinez, but at a catch weight of 158. And then, but I think before that, he took step aside money to not fight Triple G. He didn't want to fight Triple G, Cotto.
Yeah, I remember that
Because
because all Gigi fans swear Cotto ducked him, Martinez ducked him, and that's all they ever got. And then other than that, it's like because you know, my profile picture was Gigi was a hype job for a long time. I was on their line because look, Gigi to me, Gigi for sure was more hype than he actually like did in his actual career. He didn't really do nothing to be
I
honest with
I
you.
just I just it, I just was shitty for him because there was no big names at the time at his division.
True,
So
but
so
every other fighter who has been deemed dangerous has been encouraged, almost forced to move up. If you are who you say you are, take your skills, move up, and dominate where there are guys, just like Ward
no,
was
and
forced to
that's what I'm
do.
saying.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. His team said, "Well, the cash cow is coming at 154. Let's wait for him. We're not going to go up to fight Ward at 168 or all these other guys. Like we're gonna why take that risk when the big money fights are coming up with Canelo?" I used to get pissed at Triple G too because when after Canelo, they had a two really good competitive fights. You can say, oh, who won or who lost, whatever, but they were just really good fights. But after that, and Triple G was always waiting for the third fight instead of him fighting Andrade or Charlo or making fights
exactly.
like that. He just sat there and like fought nobodies and waited for his chance to get a third
Exactly.
fight.
And I kind of think Canelo kind of knew that too. Like, dude, you ain't done nothing. You know what I'm
And
saying?
he didn't want to fight. Canelo didn't want to fight him again, but it was just the money made too much sense, and it was just like, all right, let's get it out of the way.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Triple G to
I
me
do
just
feel like
waited.
that because Gigi to me, like he went 12 rounds with Danny Jacobs, and I think they even picked Danny Jacobs because Canelo had fought him already. So that's that little thing where they'll go behind the guy to kind of like so it makes the talks more juicier. Like I'm gonna fight somebody you fought. You feel me? So same thing like with Benavidez fought Plant, fought Andrade because Canelo didn't fight him. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah,
do
it
stuff like that
it,
when you're
it,
chasing somebody.
it gives people like
More
they can
comparison, talk,
yeah,
all
they
that.
can be like, oh, that's the guy that was talking shit to Canelo, and now it helps build the fighter.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm saying. To me, the whole plan was, all right, let's get some pay-per-views under your belt. Let's build you up. And it just became, I just think, a business move to say, fuck, this guy's a threat. He's huge. It doesn't, these other guys are offering me all this money. I'm going to take this fight. So now it's kind of hard to say, like, say for you that you're a trainer and a manager and all this, would you tell your 36-year-old small 168 pounder to go fight a beast and a cruiserweight that's a 175?
No,
Like,
I mean to
it
be
wouldn't make
honest
any.
with you, from a coach perspective, I understand certain guys ducking certain guys. That's why I be saying what I'm saying because I know, I know that's like when Brian Norman Jr. was like Boots. Like if I was Brian Norman Sr. and Boots was trying to fight my son, I probably would find a way out of that situation too. Because you know Boots gonna cook him. He been cooking him in the sparring. He's been, you feel me? Like you know he's gonna cook him. So it's like yeah, we need to dodge this one. That's why I totally understand that. That's what I be saying. Like, I'm not, and what I'm saying though is, as a fan, see, I could put on two hats. As a trainer, I can sit here and say, I understand why he don't want to fight him because he's gonna cook him. You feel me? When I could just duck this one guy and go over here and fight these other guys and extend my career, I understand it, but that doesn't mean it still ain't weak, in my opinion. You feel me? It's still,
And
it's not even. Let's not say weak. Let's just say you're still admitting to me that that guy's better than you. And that's all. That's all I be trying to really expose. To be honest, I like to try to expose those things. Like I be trying to get the fans to see that that's really a thing. Like even when you said, oh, fighters not afraid of nobody. Da, da, da. Yeah, they may not be afraid as far as like they're gonna lose sleep. Like, nah, I ain't worried about this dude. Like, I'll fight anybody. True. But you are scared of that L because that L messes with your money. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So
you know you're trying to build something and it's like damn I'm stacking this up I'm here and then suddenly this is gonna make me crash back down like I don't
exactly.
the fear of losing that is you know it's a bitch but
Exactly. And to me, it's the
it
same thing. I don't really care, you know what I'm saying, whether you're afraid of because you're actually gonna lose, or you're afraid of because he's gonna kick your butt. I'm sure they're not afraid of butt kicks because they will literally go get if you pay them enough, they will literally go take a beating. You know what I'm saying? It's what
yeah
they do. So I know they're not afraid of a beating, but it's I'm talking about they know that guy's better than them. That's what I try to point out. You see what I'm saying?
and then like but to me like at some point like some of these other guys when you're in the when you're still haven't made a you're still trying to make a name for yourself and you're the same age and in the same weight it's like eventually you have to take that risk and make those fights happen even if you think you're like well shit I gotta this is the win I need to make to build myself up but
They get
and
cornered.
like say
Exactly.
someone like
It comes a time where it's like, all right, it's do or die. You know what I'm saying? I gotta
yeah
try. You know what I'm saying? So
and
yeah, exactly.
so now for like and that's why to me I'm okay with in my eyes you know the duck word gets used all too loosely but like to me I can say well I think from 2024 forward like Canelo could have made the fight and it made sense at the time and he just didn't. And we can say, oh well, he had more money and more opportunity and it's all right. So now at this point, I just don't even see it and I don't expect it. And it's it's just